Hey friends, today we're going to talk about the 10 secrets for polyglots to learn the languages so that it will help you to benefit as well. Have you ever wondered why for some people we spend around 18 years to study a single language, which is English? Why for some people they are in their 20s but they already can use around 3 to 6 languages? Are their brain different, or they have some unique methods that we can also refer to help us to learn as well? I'm a polyglot by myself, used 8 languages in my 20s. So today I would like to combine with my personal experience and also the research to help you find the key stuff for you to accuracy a language. This channel is about getting you the mindset, strategy, and tools about cultures, about building your online income. Lydia Machova is a polyglot, linguistic tutor, also a translator. She studied a lot of samples and discovered 10 very saturated principles for polyglots to learn the languages. First of all, polyglots don't have special talents. Are their brains different? The answer is not. A research found out when polyglots use and learn the languages, their brain from physical component are very similar to most people. But the difference is that they actually use less energy compared with the normal people when dealing with the foreign languages. Polyglots are not genius. They're also general people like us. So do not limit yourself, find extra excuses, be confident. You can also reach that point as well. Second, they spend tremendous of time. The research found out that even after graduation, the polyglots generally spend a tremendous of time, around 1 to 3 hours per day, to invest in accuracy in the languages. This is almost the similar strength compared with a university linguistics student. But the difference is that the polyglots invest such time almost every day throughout their life. So regardless of the efforts, in terms of the time, they already make a big step forward. I agree with this point because for me, I also try to invest around at least 30 minutes per day, usually 30 minutes to 1 hour per day, to invest in learning, use the language that I already feel interested, and try to learn something new with these languages. Which introduces the third principle, that is, polyglots use the language to learn other things. Polyglots are often interest motivated. If you want to learn a new language, the best teacher is your interest. Instead of just stop in the textbook, learn from the basic stuff, polyglots usually just start directly with the minimal backup of the vocabulary and go directly into the real-world conversations. Also, they try to use the language itself as the tool to learn a thing that they feel interested. For example, if they feel interested in history, they feel interested in sociology, they may just use this to learn that. And they use different methods. Polyglots use different methods by their own. Some are very different and even contrary with each other. Some may read a lot, some may listen a lot, some may watch a lot of dramas. Regardless the method you use, you can also succeed. Fourth, they learn at home. Instead of paying a lot of money to a group class, they usually spend a lot of time home, self-study about what they feel interested. I do agree with this point because interest is our best tutor, and only we will feel motivated when we feel the thing that we're learning are closely connected with our real life. Thus, for me, I also spend most of my time studying home. But the difference is that I also try to find private tutors on Preply. I do benefit a lot with my tutor when I learn French or Espanol. I still think it is a very important way for us to invest in this kind of one-on-one talking lessons to consolidate our actual conversation ability. If you feel interested, you can also click the link below. You will get 30% of your first discount. Fifth, they learn one language per time. If you want to learn a new language, but you try to learn 2 languages or 3 languages at the same time, sometimes they conflict. One example is my French and Espanol. They're actually very similar with each other. At the beginning, I tried to learn French and Espanol at the same time because one of my tutors said they are originally from Latin words, thus they're able to learn at the same time. But for me, I realized that especially for talking and listening, I often feel confused. Thus, I adjusted my strategy. I first concentrate my resources in learning French, eventually diagnose which words are from French. I have a relatively stronger memory in terms of French words. Then I turn to Espanol. According to my own experience, I can maximum study 2 new languages at the same time and practicing the 3rd language if I am at that country using that languages. For example, if I am in Japan, I can practice the Thai, also Espanol, but I cannot really study Thai, Espanol, and French at the same time. Sixth principle, we spend a lot of time in listening, reading, and writing. Listening is actually the first barrier when we learn foreign languages. We all have a tendency to use our previous mother tongue to replace the basic sounds element in the new languages. And we have the tendency to remember this by alphabet instead of intuitive memories. For example, for the baby word in French, bébé, people try to remember it, B-E-B-E. They just remember bébé as a whole and form the image inside their brain. They try to talk, they try to listen a lot, even before they can really understand this language, just to form a kind of the sensation and also intuitive feelings. Talking of me, I tend to listen a lot on YouTube, the newsletter, the vlog, this kind of language tutors on YouTube. I think these are very beneficial because a lot of them actually attach the subtitles, which makes it relatively easier for me to read, make a match between the sounds, the image, and the words. Seventh, I'm never afraid of making mistakes. Instead of listening a lot of MP3 home but not talking with people, they are usually passionate about the culture. Also, they're passionate, pleased about human relationships. From my personal experience, I would think, okay, I'm a foreigner, and usually I would get a lot of kindness and also tolerance when I talk with locals. And sometimes they feel very interested that a foreign citizen try to learn their languages. So they will usually accompany me and point out my mistake. Eighth, master the art of simplification. Actually, most of our vocabulary and conversations are concentrated on the very basic words, such as 2,000 words, etc. And maybe 80% of our conversations are on this kind of basic words. We spend 80% of time into those abstract words, maybe for a linguistic major student. But for most ordinary people, master the way of the most direct, simple expressions. It's not like a pyramid. It's like a puzzle. So I just need to figure out one way to express my feelings, and then I combine with other puzzles, make connections, etc. Ninth, learn in small chunk. As mentioned before, I always consider consistency is better than the amount. I prefer to spend 5-30 minutes in a week instead of one day. I usually arrange it in the morning, so to listen to some broadcast, to listen to some news, also to take some readings, etc. But I do think polyglots actually make the most use of their chunk time. For example, listening to the audio, listening to the YouTube, when they're off the work, when they're on the subway, when they are brushing their teeth, etc. Hence, really enjoy the process. I know some friends, they often feel very anxious that, okay, they already spent for 1 year, but why they cannot still speak or read? But actually for me, I think it's so-so. The most important thing is the process. That's the real motivation that makes us sparkling. And for adults, usually it just takes around 3 years for us to learn a language to around university level. And the more languages we learn, the easier it will be. I spent 18 years to study English, but I studied the rest of 5 languages in the following 7 years, around 1 year per languages. Many times, these languages learnings are parallel with each other. Of course, some languages will be strong, some languages will be weak. For some languages, I'm very good at speaking. For some languages, I'm very good at reading as well. And just imagine, after 3 years, when we really learn the language to university level, we will face the true loneliness. The moment when we just get in touch with this culture and these languages, we feel a lot of culture shock, serendipity, etc. This is the most aha moment. But after 3 years, this language feels just general, it's part of our life. We feel it more or less bored. We begin to really apply it into our daily life, for work, for research, as the tool for informations. That's a moment that we really start our process of applying this language as part of our life. Also, the time for us to voyage for the next languages. Okay, what's your struggle and what's your feeling after hearing the 10 tips from this research of the polyglots? I do believe that not everyone needs to be polyglots. Actually, if we can master one language, for example, English or Korean, Japanese or French, just one, you will be admired even by the polyglot. Polyglot know a lot of languages, but they cannot usually master it. If you know one language, you will be admired indeed. If you like this channel, feel free to comment, like or subscribe, and you can let YouTube to tag you as the interesting user for this productivity information. Okay, this is Vec. See you next.